Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a user named Ecstatic Car in the AIO subreddit. The post is titled, "I'm considering divorcing my husband after he said his flesh screams to discard me. To give some background, my husband and I have only been married for 2.5 years. Two things are happening that are making me consider divorce, and I want to know, am I overreacting or do I need to leave? A few months ago, I received news that I had been accepted into the University of Edinburgh to pursue my master's degree. It was my husband's and my plan to apply and go together, as my program is only a year long. This was a compromise after months of me putting off applying anywhere outside my hometown for him, at his request to live in our city just a little longer. I have a prestigious degree, have already turned down an internship at one of the nation's top 10 offices in my field, and have already progressed to the highest position within my department at my firm. I gave it all up gladly for a short while, but he knew that an integral part of me is the desire to apply outside of our hometown and grow. I thought he understood this about me. I told him this part of myself for years. By the time graduate school came up, I was tired of putting off my goals and aspirations. I stood firm in my acceptance from the school. I didn't expect this to make him so upset. Now, as the months between now and September get shorter, he has gone to great lengths to express his plan for us to stay and to back out of the year abroad he had already agreed to. He told me that my dreams are just dreams and that if I wasn't happy now, I would never be happy. He said that our roles are not equal and that he prays I will see it this way one day. After that, we fought a lot. He would seek out counsel and then tell me I should not be the one making decisions because I am a woman. He has apologized for that, but I can't shake it off. I told him he could join me or leave, and then the unimaginable happened. One day in the midst of our fighting, I came home from work. He sat me down and proceeded to tell me that he had been lying about addictions to nicotine, marijuana, pornography, and struggling with alcohol for half of our engagement and all of our marriage. I didn't know what to do. I started to realize that most of the times he did not want to spend quality time with me, it was because he was high. I had felt alone for a good portion of the beginning of our marriage. I knew he struggled with alcohol. I carried the embarrassment of it whenever he drank himself sick in front of friends and family. Whenever he did drink, he would lie to me about being drunk while stumbling. Honestly, I was more upset about the lies than the severity of any of the substances. I told him he needed professional help. He told me I needed godly counseling. 1 or 2 months went by, he did not get professional help, and I did not give up my postgraduate degree. I saw him live without substances for the first time, and he got frustrated and angry because he proclaimed he was now living a transparent, godly life, and because of it, I should be submitting. He would get angry that I would not support him the way he wanted me to in pursuing sobriety, and I told him I was trying. I was just also trying to balance my own hurt. This was when he told me that God told him specifically that we have to stay. I told him no. He told me my dreams were idols, that I love Edinburgh more than him, and that he hasn't asked me to really sacrifice at all. He told me that he loves me with God's love so much, that he has chosen to love me through our disagreement, even when his flesh screams at him to disregard me and to move on. He will not take ownership of his words. He thinks that because he has a sinful nature, it's okay to say this to me. I think doing so removes his responsibility for owning the mean words he said to me. We were doing well for a month, and now we haven't been talking for days. He told me the women I have in my life, whom I have sought counsel from since I was 16, did not meet his requirements for godly counsel. He told me that it was his need for me to seek counsel from a woman he approves of, and that he hopes I love him enough to do what he says. I told him I would not remove the women who have been so close to me. He told me that my refusal in that and my refusal to give up Edinburgh despite what God told him means I am content with living in discord. I told him then that I was sick of always validating my hopes and dreams, my friends, my church involvement, and my spirituality, and that my dreams are not idols. I told him that I don't love Edinburgh more than him, but that what we do now determines the rest of our lives, and I want to be with someone who supports me. I don't know if this was too harsh. He hasn't spoken to me in 2 days. I am torn because when everything is well, we are so beautiful together. My heart hurts for what we could be, but I know that I cannot stay in a marriage that is only pretty at the cost of my autonomy. I am familiar with the word of God myself, and know women are called and equipped just as men are. It is not okay for him to say our roles are not equal. Even if those roles are different, that does not inherently make one role less than the other. My plan now is to shut down any conversation about my graduate degree. I will still go, and he is welcome to do whatever he wants except belittle me and my dreams. He still has not spoken to me and is avoiding me, and I'm not sure if he will continue that tonight. Am I overreacting by considering divorce only 2.5 years in, or should I be more patient with him and welcome him to join in my journey? How far is too far? How lenient in his healing from addiction is too lenient? Terrible Session said, "This is going to be the rest of your life. Can you imagine trying to parent with this man? He can't accept a partner who isn't a prop and a crutch. He wants you to be a two-dimensional, powerless sidekick to his ego because he's channeling God. What is he going to do to a child?" You obviously have the whole picture and we don't, but based on what you have told us here, this is a man telling you that he will accept nothing less than your isolation from everything and everyone that makes you a strong, fully fledged person capable of anything more than supporting him in whatever way suits him at the moment. He literally told you he wants to replace tried and true counsel, beholden to nothing and no one but their perception of your best interests, with women who will simply echo his point of view. So whenever you think he might be in the wrong, you will be turning to his proxies to get confirmation that he is right. That is an astounding level of control, and I doubt it is a coincidence that it is surfacing in such an extreme way now when you are talking about leaving everything and everyone he knows, reassuringly slotted into place in relation to him for the uncontrollable unknown in which only you will initially have purpose and place. As such, I doubt he will ever be happy for your success, although he will expect you to be happy for his. He wants you to live solely for him and through him instead of living a life for yourself. He wants you to accept a life lived in ever smaller circles as an extension of his own dreams, hopes, goals, preferences, interests, and impulses. He wants you to be an empty vessel to be filled only with his commands, a Stepford wife. He just told you this is the real him, which he is only showing you because you are the prize promised to him by the Almighty for finally living a godly life. He just told you that he has been lying the entire time. You thought you knew who he was. You know what this means, right? You are part of a compact with God to make him happy. So if he is not happy, but he is living what he thinks is a moral life, it will be your fault. You will be defective, never him. Also, since you are a prize and not a partner, it will never be about you. His wants, needs, and goals will always be more important, because you are a condition of his success and not worthy of success in your own right. Anything in your mind that does not have his stamp of approval is irrelevant and negative, because it threatens his reward for a good life. You can already see what that life will be. It's been just 2 years and he is insulting you, belittling you, giving you the silent treatment instead of talking through conflicts, and demanding you drop friends and family. It will not get better and will likely get worse. He can't even tell you the truth without some kind of bait. It sounds like he is replacing one set of addictions with another. It is only going to get more complicated from here. I am glad that there are good times, but let's be real. It is easy to make things work when things are easy. What about when they get hard? How much do you trust him when the inevitable curveball comes? Is he going to help with the night feedings and housework so you can sleep and be a safe caretaker for a newborn? What if you have different ideas about an epidural? What about a broken leg? Does he step up or blame you for not being able to move off the bed without injuring yourself? What about cancer, stroke, or old age? Does your life get better or worse if, for whatever reason, your voice is silenced and you need a caretaker or an advocate? Do you know the staggering percentage of men who leave their partners in that kind of situation? Which side of the divide does he land on? Does he hold it together for his soulmate, or find an excuse to start over with what he considers to be a less defective model? Is there any room for you in this relationship as an independent human soul with your own wants, needs, and dreams, or are you more a means to an end? A two-dimensional helpmate whose primary purpose is to make his life better and help meet his dreams? Are the inevitable sacrifices when two lives mesh together only supposed to flow one way? Except, of course, the staggering, immense sacrifices he makes in being in a relationship with you on the same terms you have always given, when his very flesh screams at him to find another more pliable partner, and in finally living his days free of substances and being honest about it for the first time in your relationship. If you don't want to stay in this relationship anymore, as honestly I hope you don't drag it out. Cut it off and take yourself safely out of his orbit. Nothing good is going to come of leaving yourself at his mercy. There is another statistic that makes me uneasy. The most dangerous times for a woman leaving an abusive relationship are when she is pregnant and when she tries to leave. If you do decide to stay, I would absolutely rethink having children with this man if that is something on your mind, and be sure to keep an independent stream of income that goes into an account only you can control. This next post was made in the subreddit by a user named Evawant. The post is titled, "My boyfriend's girl best friend is way too flirty and I don't know how to deal with it. I'm a 21-year-old woman and have been dating my boyfriend who is 24 for about 8 months now. Overall, things have been really great. He is kind, supportive, and we have a good time together. But there is one issue that has been bothering me more and more. His girl best friend. Let's call her Emily. They have been friends for years, long before I came into the picture, and I have tried to be cool about their friendship. I really did. I know it is possible for guys and girls to be friends, and I do not want to be that insecure girlfriend who tells him who he can or cannot hang out with. But Emily flirts with him, like a lot. She makes comments about how hot he looks when we are all hanging out. She constantly finds reasons to touch him, like fixing his hair, poking him playfully, or leaning on him when she laughs. One time at a party, she sat on his lap like it was the most normal thing in the world. I was literally right there. I have brought it up to him gently, just saying I feel kind of uncomfortable with some of the stuff she does, and he brushed it off as her just being like that with everyone. But I have seen her around other guys. It is not the same. What really messed with my head was when she told him, jokingly, I think, that she would have dated him if they ever got the timing right. And he just laughed it off. I did not know whether to cry or scream. I do not want to be controlling, and I do not want to give him an ultimatum, but I also do not want to keep pretending I am okay with this dynamic when I am really not. So am I overreacting? Is this worth having a serious conversation about again? Has anyone been in a similar situation? I just feel stuck between wanting to trust him and not wanting to ignore my gut. Any advice would seriously help. Update. Hey everyone, I just wanted to post a quick update since you were kind enough to share advice and validate how I was feeling. I ended up having another conversation with my now ex-boyfriend a couple of weeks ago. I explained again, calmly and clearly, how uncomfortable Emily's behavior made me feel. I even gave specific examples like her sitting on his lap, the way she always had her hands on him, the "we could have dated" comment, and so on. I told him I wasn't trying to be controlling, but that it was starting to feel disrespectful to our relationship, and I needed him to understand where I was coming from. He still brushed it off. He said again that that's just how she is and that I was reading too much into it. No ownership, no acknowledgement, no willingness to set any kind of boundary. That's when it clicked for me. I realized I was trying way too hard to explain basic respect in a relationship. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I do think he was more afraid of upsetting Emily than he was of losing me, and that was enough of an answer, so I broke up with him. It wasn't dramatic, just sad. I told him I deserve to be with someone who takes my feelings seriously and who wouldn't make me feel like a third wheel in my own relationship. Since then, I felt a weird mix of relief and grief, but mostly peace. I trusted my gut, I chose myself, and I know I made the right decision. Thank you to everyone who helped me feel less crazy in that original post. Seriously, it meant more than I can say. Unintentional Wipe said, if I were in my petty 20s, I would have paid someone to act like a male best friend who came back after a couple of years away. Then we would accidentally bump into each other and I would act the same way with him. If anything was said about how it was inappropriate or my boyfriend said, I feel uncomfortable with this, I would say, you're right, that's why I'm breaking up with you. Now I am mature and would just break up and ghost. Miss Rachel said, as a girl who has mostly guy friends, I am disgusted by the behavior of both the ex-boyfriend and his female friend. I am so glad Opie has enough respect for herself to recognize the red flags and walk away. Boneyard said, I have never found it difficult navigating having a girl best friend while either of us is in a relationship. The reason these stories are such a common trope is because often these people are not actually friends. It is not just the stereotypes when one side is pining after the other or stringing their friend along as a backup. There can be no attraction on either side, like friends who are codependent and so afraid of being alone that they disrupt each other's lives. Real friends are each other's cheerleaders and advocates. They understand that romantic relationships affect any friendship, and that is okay. Boundaries change when you are in a relationship. It does not matter if it is your guy or girlfriends. This final post was made in the relationship subreddit by a user named Impossible Fun. The post is titled, "I think my FWB has feelings for me. About 6 months ago, I went out for drinks with some friends, one of whom was Chris. Chris and I have known each other since middle school. We were never super close, but always good friends, if that makes sense. She got wasted and was being flirted with by another guy in the group who was sober, which sent off alarm bells for me. When we were all walking to our apartments and he lingered instead of leaving, I ended up crashing on her couch. The next morning over breakfast, she admitted she found me cute, really appreciated what I did the night before, and wanted to know if I'd be up for a friends with benefits situation. Since then, we've been exactly that. We'd both just gotten out of relationships at the time, and surprisingly, this arrangement resulted in us becoming genuinely close friends. Now, we hang out just to spend time together more often than we meet specifically to sleep with each other. Initially, we had a strict no staying the night rule because, for her, that felt like a step beyond friends with benefits. But late last month, she asked if I'd stay over because she really needed someone to cuddle with, and I obliged without hesitation. Now, every time we meet, one of us ends up staying overnight. She's also been making overtly flirty comments around friends, which was another rule we'd set to keep things private. The problem is, I'm not sure I share her feelings. She's amazing, don't get me wrong. Beautiful, brilliant, driven, and one of the kindest people I know. She volunteers at a soup kitchen weekly. I've been grateful to grow closer to her these past 6 months. She's the kind of person you're lucky to meet even once in a lifetime. I know once feelings are involved, there's no going back to strict friends with benefits, but I'd rather get buried alive than hurt her. I'd love advice on how to handle this. Update. Well, I didn't really expect to have an update this soon or at all. I suspect it will be the only update. After the first post, I called her and told her I suspected she had feelings and explained that I didn't have feelings and wasn't ready for a relationship, out of panic about the situation. Thankfully, it was therapy day. I talked things out with my therapist about how I have serious fears about getting back into a relationship, how those fears made me react way too quickly, and how now that things potentially collapsed, I've re-examined how I feel about her. After therapy, I just let myself sit with things for a while. Then I called her. The call went to voicemail, so I texted her and let her know I wanted to talk and preferred to do it in person if she was willing. She texted back and said she was willing to meet for dinner to hear me out. So I laid everything out for her, how my last relationship messed me up and how that made me panic when I realized that she had feelings, causing me to act before I even gave myself time to process. Then I told her how I really felt, that her voice is my favorite sound, how her smile is what I see when I close my eyes, all of it, and most importantly, that if she was willing to be patient with me, I wanted to give us a shot. Anyway, I'm taking her on a proper date this weekend. Rad Avenger said, "She is my best friend in the world, the sex is great, and she is hot as hell, but I don't have feelings for her. Therapy is definitely a winner." To this comment, user 4Emphasis said, "I was thinking, dude, you just described a relationship. You are already dating. People who date their best friends have some of the happiest marriages anyway." Mater Antiqua said, "How had his fear of relationships not come up already? If it was that bad that he swore off dating and was already in therapy, then it should have come up at some point." Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video, and thank you also to partner of the channel, GamerSupps. Use code DLAM to support the channel and get 10% off of your purchase, link in the description. I'm sure many of you like me have a hankering for daily caffeine, so go check them out. Lately, I've been a big fan of Titty Milk and Acid Rain, but they've got dozens of other flavors for y'all to try out. Anyway, thanks again for reaching the end, and I hope you all have an amazing passage of the next 24 hours.